Hello all, and welcome to a late night post-work comparison review, which I am going to dub the Sticky Heat review. So right now it is a little bit past 10:30 at night, and it is 80 degrees at 83% humidity, which means it feels like 85 degrees. There's no wind, and I'm in my apartment, which has no climate control. So it is remarkably unpleasant right now. But you know what? With my work uniform, my all black work uniform on, it was even more unpleasant during the day. You want to know what's even worse is that I wear like a thin jacket. And the main reason I do that is because I work outside. You kind of notice like my arms slightly lighter than my face. My face is kind of red. I'm in the sun quite a bit. Even though I'm a night shift worker, I'm still in the sun half the day. It's yeah, you know, very, very hot. That's why we're going to be comparing regular Heineken with Heineken 0.0. So I haven't uploaded the review for this yet, but soon. This was 2 cans of this were a gift from my father, and while I was reviewing this 0.0 alcohol-free Heineken, I really was struck by how much the nose and the taste on the palate, if not the palate, the body and mouth feel, resembled Heineken. Now, I think it would probably be a bit better to go and compare this with Heineken Light, but I would rather drink a full-bodied Heineken. They're just more tasty. And it's more like I want to go and see like the parallels in the nose and taste. I know the body is going to be completely different. The mouthfeel is going to be completely different. So the interesting thing about this, however, and I'm going hoarse again. Don't know why I go hoarse so often now. I'm just getting old, I guess. It just kind of sucks. Here. I like being blurry. Be blurry elsewhere. Here, or go over here. Yeah, there we go. Really hates that middle ground. So one interesting thing about this is you notice that this is, well, it's kind of hard to see when I'm holding it up, but let's see here. The Heineken can is slightly larger than the Heineken Zero can. This is 11.2 ounces, and this is 12 ounces. Why they made that difference, I don't know. So, yeah, first let's go and pour out the regular Heineken at 5.08 ABV. We're just going to quickly pour out both and then do the comparison, because the heads on both of these don't really last all that long. Of course, doing this from a can because I don't want the green bottle skunk. 2 fingers, that's pretty decent. Okay, and now for the alcohol-free. I'm going to be pouring into the Blue Moon glass because I want somewhat similar shapes. And about another 2 fingers head. Okay, coloration. Honestly, it's really hard to tell coloration-wise. But carbonation-wise, you can kind of see that the alcohol-free Heineken is far more actively carbonated and is retaining its head a lot better too for some reason. Okay, let's just go to the nosing now. Okay, you got that bready honeyed malts. And of course, sort of grassy herbaceous hopping. Both of them not really big. It's a Euro Pale Lager, it's not going to astound you with its nosing. Okay. Alcohol free. I have to say that it's a bit more, the nose is a bit more intense in the regular Heineken as opposed to the alcohol-free one. Why is the alcohol-free one retaining its? This is the first time I've seen like a non-alcoholic beer retain its head so well. Well, other than that one German one that was really, really malty. But yeah, other than the intensity of it, so yeah, this one smells a bit more sweet and bready. But you still get malt smell in this one, in the alcohol-free. And I forgot to go and do my water. I really should have remembered. Okay, there we go. Palate cleansing water. And if I was less lazy, I would have done a quick cut right there. I'm going to have a little bit right now, just so I can clear up that frogginess in my throat maybe a little bit. Frogginess is down here for some reason. Okay, let's start with the regular Heineken. Let's see here. Best by January 2024. So still pretty fresh. It tastes like Heineken. Um, those sort of bready malts. And slightly bittering hops. Hops doesn't really have an aroma in the top note. Okay, on to the alcohol-free. Okay, I was wrong with my estimation. I'm going to check the dating on this one. Best by November 2023. So they're both fairly fresh. So yeah, I would be able to go and tell the difference in between the two of them pretty easily by taste, because the taste profiles are different. This one has a lot more, sweetness to it. Well, it's also thicker in mouthfeel, obviously. With the alcohol-free, you actually taste the hops quite a bit more. Both the bitterness, but you still don't really get much, other flavor notes in the top note either. Maybe just like a mild grassiness. Or a hay-like note. Very subtle. You don't really get any malt notes in the top note. Interesting. When you sip the alcohol-free one and then you immediately sip the regular one, My palate detects like a booziness all of a sudden, you know. No, just drinking it straight, I don't get any booziness from this whatsoever. It's almost like um, having two very similar things on the palate. While I said they are different, I wouldn't have any trouble distinguishing them by taste or smell. Obviously, 100% by body. I think anyone could by body and mouthfeel. But they are similar enough that if you go from one to the other, you can kind of see that they're related. But when you have this one, and then chase it with the regular, you kind of get a boozy top note. And I think that's just sort of like your brain sensing a sudden contrast in the flavors. It's actually kind of interesting, because I wouldn't be able to take, I wouldn't detect booziness in this otherwise. It's only 5.0, obviously. Like when I just had that one, after the palate completely cleared, no booziness. But if I do this, note of booziness in the top note. Really interesting. I wonder if that's replicable in other, you know, non-alcoholic beers versus their standard beer. The standard. So, which do I like better? Obviously, the beer with alcohol in it. It's, it has a more pleasant mouthfeel. This one is so thin-bodied, it's almost astringent. What is good about it, though, is that it tastes and smells like beer. You know, quite shockingly so. And when you have them next to each other, you see some sort of profound difference in between the flavor profiles of both. One is, the non-alcoholic one is just so much more drier than the alcoholic one. Um, you can tell that they're related. And, you know, um, while Heineken isn't a great beer, at least by my estimation anyway, it's drinkable beer. I don't disdain it as much as when I started my craft beer journey. If you go and look at some of my early videos, I just shit all over Heineken. Um, it's actually not that bad when you have it in a can. It's not that good either, but it's not that bad. And where was I going with this? I don't know. I'm kind of tired, and the alcohol's starting to kick in. So I guess I'll just sort of wrap it up. This was a sort of interesting experiment to see how things are alike and different, and how things can sometimes seem closer if you're trying to work from memory as opposed to, having it right there in front of you, which is why these sort of comparison reviews are important. Not in the grand scheme of things, but important if you're like me and you like, tasting beers. But yeah, so that is your comparison review for tonight, folks. Cheers. Boozy. But not actually boozy. Just an interesting effect.